Good morning all. In today's session, we are going to discuss about very important structure, very frequently asked topic in the examinations, hypothalamus. In this particular session, at the end, you will be able to understand various nuclear groups of hypothalamus. Hypothalamus playing very important role in many of the bodily functions. And at the same time, you will be able to understand the abnormalities that will be associated with hypothalamic. Let us see. Hypothalamus, it is a small structure which subserves many important functions of the body. It's a major integrating center in the brain in having widespread connections as well as functions. Through its connections with different bodily structures like pituitary gland, it controls or it helps in controlling endocrine and various reproductive functions. With its connection with brainstem, it controls cardiovascular, respiratory, autonomic, as well as thermoregulatory functions. With its connection with the limbic system, it is playing very important role in behavioral functions as well as emotions. And with its connection with cortical areas, it controls higher functions, including learning as well as memory. Physiological anatomy of hypothalamus. Structurally, it's a very small structure in the brain, lies on each side of the third ventricle. It is weighing about 10 grams, located below the thalamus, and probably hence the name hypothalamus. Along with the thalamus and subthalamus, it forms diencephalon part of the brain. Hypothalamus consists of large number of nuclei and nuclear groups. You can see here in the diagram. Comprises of mainly 4 nuclear groups: anterior, middle, posterior, and lateral. Anterior group, as you can see here, anterior, middle, and posterior. Preoptic, supraoptic, and paraventricular nuclei. Paraventricular nucleus, preoptic nucleus, supraoptic. Middle group, tuberal, arcuate, ventromedial, and dorsomedial nuclei. Dorsomedial, lateral, ventromedial, and tuberal. Posterior group, supramammillary, mammillary, and posterior hypothalamic nuclei. This is the posterior group. Posterior nucleus, mammillary body. And lateral. Lateral preoptic area as well as lateral hypothalamic. Hypothalamus has very extensive connections and with many of the other structure in the nervous system. And at many instances, the structures or these connections are reciprocal. Let us consider one by one. Phonics. Through the phonics, hypothalamus is reciprocally connected with the limbic system. Medial forebrain bundle. Via this, hypothalamus has extensive and reciprocal connection with the brainstem, including reticular formation, limbic system, and cerebral cortex. Periventricular system reciprocally connects midbrain and sensory pathways to hypothalamus. Mammillothalamic tract, it conveys information from mammillary body of hypothalamus to anterior nucleus of thalamus. Retinohypothalamic fibers, optic nerve, as we have studied previously also, it carries visual information from retina to suprachiasmatic nucleus of the via the retinohypothalamic tract or the fiber. Mammillategmental tract, it connects mammillary body to tegmental reticular nuclei of. Next is hypothalamo-hypophyseal tract. It connects supraoptic and paraventricular nuclei of hypothalamus to the posterior pituitary gland. Tubero-infundibular tract connects arcuate and ventromedial nuclei of hypothalamus to infundibulum. The spelling mistake, not accurate. Arcuate. Dorsal noradrenergic bundle. Dorsal noradrenergic bundle connects locus coeruleus nucleus to dorsal hypothalamus, and serotonergic neurons, it connects raphe nuclei to Next is mesolimbic dopaminergic system. It is connecting third ventricle to medial hypothalamic nuclei and within hypothalamic. Next is cortico-hypothalamic fibers connect cerebral cortex to the hypothalamus directly, as we can see. As we can see in this particular diagram, that with various structure in the body, the hypothalamus is having an establishing connection, and at many instances, these connections are reciprocal. Hypothalamic areas which are present outside the blood-brain barrier, there are mainly three different areas called organum vasculosum of lamina terminalis, OVLT, as we can see here in the diagram. This is a OVLT structure. The fornical organ, this particular one, and the area posterior. These are present in ventral part of medial eminence. Since portal vessels arise in the median eminence, regions in the median eminence of the hypothalamus are present outside the blood-brain barrier. These regions also detect change in osmolarity of blood or the extracellular fluid, and thereby they help in regulating blood volume as well as water intake or thirst. After considering the physiological anatomy, the various connections of hypothalamus, and various neurons or group of nuclei of the hypothalamus, now it's a time to consider various functions of the hypothalamus. The first of all, it controls the endocrine function, also helps in controlling autonomic function, circadian rhythm of the body, temperature regulation, regulation of food intake. Along with food intake, it also helps in regulating water intake. It also controls the various reproductive functions of the body. It has got influence on behavior and emotion, also being connected with the limbic system. Has got role in the sleep, as we say that it controls the circadian rhythm, and we all are aware of connections of sleep-wake cycle with the circadian. And the last function is the immunological. Let us consider all these functions one by one. Endocrine function, it controls, that is, hypothalamus control both anterior as well as posterior pituitary function. Connected with the anterior pituitary through portal hypophyseal vessel. As we can see here, these are the hypothalamic neurons which are secreting hormones, and it is connected with the portal hypophyseal vessels. These are the portal hypophyseal. That means the releasing and inhibitory hormones are coming into these vessels. And with posterior pituitary via the hypothalamo-hypophyseal, with the posterior pituitary via the neurons or the fibers which are extending from the hypothalamus to the posterior pituitary and which forms the hypothalamo-hypophyseal tract. Control of anterior pituitary. Hypothalamus does this by synthesizing and secreting various kinds of releasing as well as inhibitory hormones or the inhibiting, which are transported to the median eminence first, that is to this particular part, and from where they enter the portal plexus of superior hypophyseal artery. This is a superficial hypophyseal artery, and this is the portal plexus, which together called hypothalamo-hypophyseal portal system. From there, these hormones travel in long portal vessels to reach the anterior pituitary gland, and depending on the releasing and inhibitory hormone that is being secreted, the anterior pituitary hormone secretion increases or decreases accordingly. What are the various releasing and inhibitory hormone from the hypothalamus? Thyrotropin releasing hormone. What it does is stimulate the secretion of thyroid stimulating hormone from the thyrotropes part of the anterior. Gonadotropin releasing hormone stimulates secretion of follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. Corticotropin releasing hormone stimulates secretion of adrenocorticotropic hormone. Growth hormone releasing hormone increases the secretion of growth hormone, whereas growth hormone inhibitory hormone suppresses the secretion of prolactin inhibiting hormone. As the name is suggesting, it inhibits synthesis as well as secretion of prolactin by electrodes. Control of functions of posterior. The two very important hormones, as we all know, are secreted by the posterior pituitary gland, that is antidiuretic hormone, which is also called vasopressin and oxytocin. They are synthesized by supraoptic and paraventricular nuclei of hypothalamus, and after being synthesized, they are being transported along their axon called hypothalamo-hypophyseal tract to the posterior pituitary gland, where they are stored and released into the circulation depending on the need of the body. Second very important function that the hypothalamus is playing a role in: control of various autonomic functions. Sympathetic control. Due to its close link with autonomic functions, Sherrington had described the hypothalamus as the head ganglion of autonomic nervous system. Stimulation of lateral as well as posterior hypothalamic areas, it is resulting in sympathetic responses. What kind of stimulation of lateral area? General sympathetic activation in the form of piloerection, increased in blood pressure, increase in heart rate, sweating, pupillary dilation, as well as secretion of various chemicals. Stimulation of posterior hypothalamus, it causes activation of emotional behavior patterns such as aggression, fear, or rage. And this particular pattern may be because of the connection of hypothalamus that is being established with the limbic system. Parasympathetic control, stimulation of anterior hypothalamus resulting in parasympathetic responses which are in the form of decreased blood pressure, decrease in the heart rate, decreased sweating, pupillary constriction, this is not papillary, and decreased secretion of catecholamine. Next function is control of circadian rhythm of the body. What is circadian rhythm? It means 24 hours fluctuation in the body function, day and night variation, or variation during the light and dark cycle, light during the day, dark during the night. For example, sleep habit or sleep-wake cycle, corticosteroid secretion and other hormone secretion, variation in the body temperature as well as melatonin. Retinohypothalamic fibers are conveying retinal information about the light when the retinal receptors are getting stimulated because of the light or because of the darkness. This information is sent via optic chiasm to the suprachiasmatic by the retinohypothalamic. Suprachiasmatic nucleus, on receiving this information, conveyed further to various neuroendocrine structures that help in maintaining circadian rhythm of various forms. Nocturnal secretion of a hormone called melatonin from the pineal gland is an important hormonal signal for the regulation of other functions. What is the physiological basis of action of suprachiasmatic nucleus? Discharge pattern of neurons of this particular suprachiasmatic nucleus, it is regulated mainly by 4 specific genes. And whenever these 4 specific genes are diurnally activated, they cause the synthesis of new proteins. These new proteins enter the cytoplasm of the cell and cause modification in the cell function in the form of they alter the discharge pattern of the cells when they enter into the cytoplasm. These proteins, after being carrying out its function, return back to the nucleus from the cytoplasm. And when they enter the nucleus, they inhibit the genes that produce them. And thus we can say genes that control the rhythmic discharge of suprachiasmatic nucleus are also regulated by the negative feedback, so that the biological clock acts, that is, the suprachiasmatic nucleus acts within the physiological range or the physiological limits. Next, very important functions is temperature regulation of the body. Temperature regulation mainly depending on balance between the mechanism that produces heat and the mechanism that causes heat loss, which in turn depends on this mechanism of heat loss and heat gain depends on many peripheral as well as central mechanisms, of which central mechanism via temperature regulating center, which is located in the hypothalamus, is playing very important role in the process of temperature regulation. Let us see. Anterior hypothalamus, especially the preoptic area, this particular preoptic nucleus. Preoptic and anterior hypothalamic nuclei. This is a preoptic nucleus and this is the anterior hypothalamus. It contains heat sensitive neurons or receptor as well as cold sensitive neurons or receptor, of which abundant or predominant are the heat sensitive receptor than the cold sensitive. That means these heat sensitive and cold sensitive receptor increase their firing rate with change or alteration in the body. Posterior hypothalamus has a spatial area bilaterally, which is located at the level of mammillary bodies. And this spatial area is receiving afferent signal from the anterior hypothalamus, preoptic area, as well as from the peripheral receptors. And when it receives the signals from the preoptic area and peripheral receptor, it initiates the mechanism of heat production or heat loss depending on the signal or kind of signal it is receiving. Let us have when core temperature of the body is, that is normal body temperature is 37 degrees centigrade. When the body temperature increases more than 37 degrees centigrade, the thermoreceptors getting activated, which send signal to the hypothalamus, and through the various nerves from the hypothalamus, the signals are going to the sweat glands, to the muscle, and the muscles of the skin arteriole wall relax. What it causes? It causes body to lose heat. How come? By increasing the sweat, by reducing the muscle activity, and by causing the arteriolar dilation. What is happening because of which the body temperature starts decreasing, it returns to normal, that is 37 degrees centigrade, and as soon as it returns to normal, it sends negative feedback to the hypothalamus thermoreceptors, and the mechanism of this heat loss, it stops. When the body temperature is less than 37 degrees centigrade, again the receptor, thermoreceptor, which are cold sensitive neurons or receptor, gets activated. They send signal to the hypothalamus, which sends signal by the way of nerves to the muscles of the skin arteriole, which undergo constriction. So there is less loss of heat. Sweat gland decrease the secretion of sweat, as well as muscle cause. So what is happening? Body loses less amount of heat, and the heat is remaining inside the body, and therefore also because of the muscle shivering, there occurs heat production. So simultaneously, body is losing less amount of heat. At the same time, because of the muscle shivering, there is a heat production taking place inside the body. And together, this mechanism, what it causes, it increase the body temperature towards normal, that is 37 centigrade. And again, the negative feedback is sent to the hypothalamus, so that the process of this temperature regulation is. Hypothalamus thus is acting as a thermostat. Why? Thermosensor cells in hypothalamus detect changes in the temperature of blood and receives input from cutaneous thermosensitive receptor. Information received is matched with the set point for the body temperature, that is 37 degrees centigrade, and accordingly hypothalamus initiate appropriate temperature regulating mechanism, either by the way of activating mechanism that produces heat in the body, or activating the mechanism that causes heat loss. With this, is the next set of function we will discuss in our next class. For today, we have discussed the physiological anatomy of the hypothalamus, various connections of the hypothalamus, groups of nuclei of the hypothalamus. We also considered and enumerated so many functions in which the hypothalamus is playing very important role of the body, and that is ultimately helping in control of the homeostasis. Rest of the functions and the abnormalities associated with the functions will be discussed in the very next. Thank you.